So the game is over between Michigan and Northern Illinois, and can I just say, we dominated completely, how we were supposed to. But other thing I wanted to say is, before I get into the game, Rocky Lombardi is an idiot. He's an idiot. Um, he's a moron. Why are you after you get a long run off of from our third string defense? First of all, are you taunting our crowd? At this point, sir, you are down by 60 points. So, Rocky Lombardi with the hair that will blind anyone on sight. Um, yeah, you're an idiot. You're a moron. Don't do that again. No one likes a showboat or no one likes a person who taunts at the crowd. And even the commentator said something about it. You don't taunt at a crowd. It's just bizarre to do that when you're down by 60 points and you finally got a good play against our third string defense. It makes no sense to me. But anywho, Michigan completely dominated Northern Illinois today. I mean, it was not even a competition from the very beginning. Outside of NIU's very first drive, where they went down the field and got a field goal, they couldn't get anything going in this game. They had just over 200 total yards of offense today. Michigan had over 600, 606 to be exact. We had 28 first downs to their 11. And we had 373 yards rushing. So this is our third straight week running the ball for over 300 yards. We are averaging 350 yards on the ground. We are just tearing up every team we play with this run game. I know we haven't really played anyone too special yet. Washington was our hardest game, obviously. But I mean, these are numbers that we didn't even pull off against Western Michigan. NIU was obviously the easiest team we've played all year so far. I mean, it wasn't even like this game wasn't even fair. Took out most of our players. We played over 100 guys in this game, which is great to see. Every quarterback and every running back on our roster got some playing time, and even our fourth string running back nearly had a touchdown run on his first run. At this point, the game was way out of reach for NIU, and we were gonna win for sure. I mean, it wasn't even a question. Cade McNamara was taken out after the first half. He only played the first half. He had a great game in that first half. He could have had a better game. 8 for 11, 191 yards, and a touchdown pass. So he remains perfect. He hasn't thrown an interception yet, but he also hasn't had very many games passing the ball. The thing about Cade McNamara is that he is a really good passer, and he's a very good game manager. He is a very good quarterback. At least this year he is. Hopefully, I hope he's not like a Brandon Peters and he gets worse, or like a Wilton Spate or something like that, where it's just like he has on a slow decline. Wilton Spate never really got that bad, but Cade McNamara, I wonder how upset he was after being taken out and after the first half. He probably wanted to play a little bit longer, and I don't blame the guy. But he had to know McCarthy was going to get some playing time in this one, and I mean, I don't blame Michigan for playing our backups. Alan Bowman got a few snaps, I think. I think Dan Villari came out for one play, and all he did was hand it off, and we got a gain of 0 on that play. I don't know why he went out there for one play. If they're not going to make him pass the ball, then don't send him out there. I don't understand it. But Blake Corum was our leading rusher again this week. 13 carries, 125 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Cornelius Johnson finally having a day. 3 receptions for 117 yards and a touchdown. I believe he had the 58-yard touchdown run or touchdown pass from McNamara. JJ McCarthy did get in the game. He did all right. He had made a couple of overthrows, I think. But he still looks really good. He ran the ball once. He's very fast. But most of the time he was on point, so he looked pretty good. And yeah, as I was saying before, 606 total yards of offense, 373 of them on the ground, 233 passing. Last week we had, 350 some yards rushing to 44 passing against Washington. Finally got something going on the passing game. We looked a lot better passing the ball, obviously. So I don't want to hear people complaining that there's not enough of a balance. There is definitely a balance this time around. And our offense played, at least our starting offense, played pretty much a flawless game. I don't think we didn't have a penalty on all. We had 5 penalties total this game. I think 4 of them were on our defense, and 1 of them was on our offense. And then we did have a boneheaded mistake that gave NIU their led to NIU's only touchdown in the game in garbage time, because we had 2 players on the field with the same number, both 2 number 1s on the field. You can't do that, and it was on a punt return, so they got the ball back and scored like 2 or 3 plays later. But yeah, this game wasn't even a competition. If we really wanted to, we could have made it 100-3. Congratulations to NIU for scoring a touchdown on our 3rd string defense in garbage time and for celebrating like you've won the Super Bowl. I guess at that point, NIU was hoping for any sort of victory that they could celebrate, any sort of positivity they can get from their team. But now they're 1-2. Michigan now, we are 3-0. Got to play Rutgers next week at home. We are playing our 4th straight home game, and then we go on the road to play Wisconsin the following week. That'll be a tough one for sure. But yeah, offense looked really good. We scored a touchdown on our first 9 drives. Didn't have a play where we didn't have any point, or we didn't have a drive where we didn't score any points until the 4th quarter. NIU on the other hand had a few drives where they got some positive yardage, but for the most part, they couldn't get anything going for most of the game, other than their first drive in the beginning of the game. Let me go over NIU's stats here. Rocky Lombardi, 9 for 17, 46 yards. He did have a touchdown pass again in garbage time, and he did have an interception, which we ran almost all the way back, and we got it on their 5, and we scored like 2 plays later. He was also their leading rusher because they couldn't run the ball worth crap. They only had, where is it? Oh no, they couldn't pass the ball worth crap. But he was still their leading rusher because he can run himself. So, the rushing game is actually their strong suit in this game. They had 46 passing yards, 162 rushing. But he committed on 72 of those 162 yards. So it was all on the quarterback there. And then their leading receiver was Twos, 1 catch for 15. Yeah. We finally got an interception. We had a turnover here. Michigan's offense, what's great about this team is that through 3 games, we haven't had a single interception. We haven't had a single fumble. That's always great to see. Especially since 2019, all we could do was fumble the ball, throw picks, and stuff like that, at least early on in the season. Hopefully it's not the other way around this year and we start fumbling the ball every week. And hopefully I don't jinx them now, because especially since we're getting into a tougher game soon. I know Rutgers is not necessarily ever considered a tough team, but of course they gave us a tough one last year. We did win that game, but it was tough. We had to win in overtime. And I know Michigan's a lot better than they were last year, but you could argue Rutgers is better than they were last year as well. So I still think we should win a game against Rutgers next week, but it won't be as easy as Northern Illinois. Again, it's a type of game where I expect us to run the ball a lot. What other games went on? So Maryland beat Illinois. I mean, it's like that is just the game of like the 2 worst teams two of the worst teams in the Big Ten. I don't think either one. If I had to tell, if you had to ask me which one of those teams is the worst team in the Big Ten, Maryland or Illinois, I would say Northwestern. Neither one of them are the worst, but they're pretty darn bad. Maryland did get the 20-17 victory, even though Illinois did lead for most of the game. Michigan State actually beat Miami. I never made a video on it or said it, but I had Michigan State winning this entire time. I know Michigan State's been playing really well, and Miami is not as good as the rankings show. I know they were favored by 6, but I'm like, I have got Michigan State. I didn't think they'd win this well, though. I thought it'd be closer. 38-17. I think at this point now, Michigan State's going to move themselves. They're going to move into the rankings now as well. Probably at like 24 or 25th. And Michigan's probably going to move up to like 22 or 21. That's my guess after winning today. So that's my prediction for that. Nebraska gave Oklahoma a scare. 23-16. Oklahoma did win this one, but Nebraska played a decent game. I think Oklahoma is very much overrated. A lot of people had them number 1 to start the season and preseason. I'm not sure why. I mean, I get it. They've got a lot of talent, but I mean, they're not showing their talent level on the field right now. But yeah, Nebraska, who is typically, at least these last few years, with like Scott Frost as the head coach, I don't ever see Nebraska as a very good team. Excuse me. So, yeah, interesting one. Is this a situation where Oklahoma is bad or Nebraska is good? I think both teams are not necessarily great. I think this is a situation where Oklahoma played a bad game and Nebraska capitalized. But again, it's also a situation where Nebraska made a lot of mistakes. They kicked themselves a lot in this game. They made too many mistakes, and they really could have won this game if they had not made so many darn mistakes. Indiana was hanging with Cincinnati for a little bit, and I mean Cincinnati's a top 10 team as well, along with Oklahoma. But they did end up running away with it against Indiana, winning 38-24. They were only favored by 3, but they won by let's see, that's 13, 14. Sorry, I'm not good at math. But yeah, so they did cover, so I don't expect Cincinnati to go down in the rankings. I do expect Oklahoma to go down in rankings, though, because I'm drawing a blank. Oh, they only won by 7 or 6 or whatever it is. 7. They won by 7. They were favored by 22.5. So they probably will go down. Oregon might overtake them because they beat Stony Brook 48-7 earlier today, and then Iowa might also overtake them because they did beat Kent State 30-7. So they'll probably overtake it, and Oklahoma might go down to 5th or even 6th. I don't know. I with Clemson, how bad they played today, I'm not even sure if they're gonna be like, because I mean obviously Oklahoma looked better than Clemson did. And I still think they're a better team than Clemson this year. But I don't know. Cincinnati, on the other hand, I still think they're a good team. And they just struggled early, and they finally found some rhythm later. And Indiana is still a tough team to play, even when they're not ranked. Minnesota ran all over Colorado. Looked good doing it, 30-0. Who really cares? Purdue was hanging with Notre Dame for a little bit. Notre Dame ended up running away with it in the second half, winning 27-13. You should, I mean, how many points did they win by? 14. And Notre Dame was favored by 7.5 in this game, so they did cover. I mean, winning by 14, that's like a blowout for Notre Dame, at least for this year's standards. I mean, almost losing 2 weeks in a row to teams that they should have beaten by 30-plus points. And then winning by 14 to Purdue, Purdue is not a good team by any means. They're one of the worst teams in the Big Ten. Not the worst, obviously, but they're not a great team. They're usually a 5 or 6 win team. So you should win against a team like Purdue, but they got away with it. Obviously, I said earlier, Iowa beat Kent State. They'll probably go up a spot, probably take take Oklahoma's spot, or no, that'll probably go to Oregon, but they'll probably go to number 4. Rutgers defeated Delaware 45-13. They was kind of close for a little bit, and then they just kind of ran away with it early on. Ohio State struggled. They won 41-20 against Tulsa, but they didn't look good doing it. They kind of ran away with it in the late in the fourth. So it does look better than it did before, but they've got a lot of questions they got to answer about their defense. I think they said they allowed over 500 yards of defense, or allowed over 500 yards for Tulsa. Yeah, Tulsa had 501 total yards. Now their offense had 508. Ohio State did, so they can still play very well on offense. But C.J. Stroud is not a Justin Fields, and I'm already hearing Ohio State fans clamoring for other guys to get playing time. So yeah, Northwestern embarrasses himself losing to Duke's football team, not the basketball team, because that wouldn't be an embarrassment, but losing to Duke's football team is an embarrassment. So Northwestern, you are a piss poor program. You are an embarrassment to the Big Ten, and you are probably not as bad as Rutgers was a few years ago, but I mean, you're not good. I would say Northwestern's the worst team in the Big Ten at this point. Now, the team that I'm going to say right now looks the best in the Big Ten is Penn State. They had a close win against Auburn. That's nothing to be upset about. You beat a ranked team. I beat a top 25 team in prime time. That's always a positive thing. That's always a good thing. 28-20 against Auburn. They'll probably go up a spot or two to 9 or 8. And then there is some games still being played right now, but that's pretty much it for the Big Ten. Unless I can find other games that I'm forgetting. Right. Alabama beat Florida 31-29. I think Florida should definitely be in the top 10 after this. Clemson needs to go down a few pegs. Winning 14-8 against Georgia Tech, I don't know, man. Georgia, number 2 in the nation, they beat South Carolina 40-13. I mean, I know the score doesn't look that like it was that much of a blowout, because I mean, honestly, they probably should have won by more, but hey, I think they covered anyway. Oregon beat Stony Brook 48-7, and then North Carolina just beat Virginia 59-39. And yeah, that's about it. So yeah, just kind of going over the games so far. But yeah, Michigan looks good. Play Rutgers next week, and hopefully it's a win. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.